Hello and welcome to The Belfry, my new series where I show off decks that you made instead of the ones that I made. I have my baddie decks, but this is The Belfry. Let's go check out what you've presented to me this time. Well, this time around I didn't give any specific requirements for the deck, so it's just whatever people wanted to post. This one is pretty cool. This one is from OK Waifu. It's a pretty cool deck. It is Superheavy Samurai Tellarknight. I will never understand how Deneb is still $20. Is it? $20? What? Oh my god. What the hell? Why is Deneb this expensive? It's not quite $20 anymore, but jeezy crazy. Why is it so expensive? This deck isn't very good. I'm sorry. It's not that good. But I think we can do some cool things with it though. I'm really excited about this one though. Let's get into the deck builder and I'll tell you all about it. Alright, here it is, Superheavy Samurai Tellarknight. It's looking pretty cool. So we have the Superheavy Samurai package, the new stuff that came out in Sayak. We have 3 motorbike to search Wakaushi. Our 3 Wakaushi can put our 2 big Benkai on the field. We do need to run 2 so that we don't, draw it and then the whole package falls apart. And then we can grab our Soul Gaia booster and do the combo. With all that, we can make Excel Synchro, and if we use the Superheavy Samurai motorbike, we can also go into Barone. And then that's going into Excel Synchro will set Wakaushi so we can pendulum summon, which is pretty cool. But then we're also running a whole bunch of Tellarknights. We'll get into those later. We have a little bit of a Isold package. So we can use 2 of we're running a lot of warriors, so we use 2 of any of our Tellarknights, go into Isold, and then the Isold can search a warrior, although we can't use that warrior that turn after we grab it. And then we can send Living Fossil to summon Renaud, and then Renaud can give us back Living Fossil, and that's a whole bunch of material just all on its own. Isold is already a 2 Link 2 monster, and then we have Renaud and whatever we summon off of Living Fossil. I think probably Soul Gaia is the one to go for, and then we can make an Appaloosa off of that. 3 mat Appaloosa is not bad at all, and it's almost free, especially with our ability to pendulum summon out our guys. We're also running 1 Immortal Phoenix Gearfried in order to banish the Living Fossil to summon it, just another guy. It's a pretty good card. It can also send the Face of Equip spell to the grave and to get an activation, but we're not doing that. It's basically just going to be a body. It can make a 4-mat Appaloosa for free. And that's pretty cool. But then we of course have the Tellarknights themselves, Satellars and Tellars, and yeah, Unakalai. I don't even know how to say these guys. Unakalai sends from deck to grave. Altair can summon from grave. Altairin is interesting. It summons itself from grave if you summon a Tellar monster. I think it's a Tellarknight or a Constellar. It can summon itself from the grave. And then it gets to pop a card depending on how many light and dark Ixies monsters you control. So it can pop a lot of cards all in one go, which I think is really cool. We have 3 Deneb. This one is a searcher. Also, an interesting thing about Altairin, we can send it for Unakalai and just, proc it right there. Vega here allows us to special summon a monster from hand, one of our Tellarknights. Tellarknight Lirin is a new one, as well as Altairin. But Lirin is a really cool one. If this one is summoned, you get to add a spell. We're only running 3 spells. It's all the same spell, 3 copies of it, but it's a really good one. So very happy to see that searcher. Additionally, it can special summon itself to the field if a Tellarknight or Constellar is normaled. So we have some combo plays with this as well. And then we're running a bunch of hand traps. We got our Ash Blossom, Droll Unlock, and Effect Veiler, which are all pretty good this format. Really no complaints with the hand trap lineup at all. I did not add the side deck, by the way, because we're only going to do a 1. But you could see it in the image there, or you could go over to the tweet. For our extra deck, we of course have the Zeus. Gotta run Zeus if you're running Ixies monsters. We have Ptolemy, which represents a bounce. Constellar Diamond is a floodgate. It works really well against Tier Limit, but that deck's not around anymore. But it still has some use. Pleiades is a pretty good monster, another bounce. Constellar Omega is actually pretty good. This one's an oldie but a goodie. Allows you to protect all of your Constellar monsters on the field currently, but from spell trap effects. Tellarknight Constellar Caduceus is the new Ixies of the archetype, and this guy, pretty dang good. It allows you to target a Tellarknight or a Constellar and add them to your hand from grave. and also can banish a Tellarknight or Constellar monster from hand or deck, and then detach a material from the card to make this effect become the banished monster's effect. So what I think you can do with this that's really cool is you can banish Deneb to get a search, but you can also do any number of other abilities from any of the monsters in your deck. It's really cool. Trigger here returns all cards on the field to the hand except for itself, and then can also detach a material to send a random card from your opponent's hand to the grave. Pretty cool. If it's sent to the grave, you can target a Tellarknight in your graveyard and special summon it, including itself. It's a good card. It does require 3 level 4 Tellarknight monsters to make it. So does Delteros. Well, it doesn't require Tellarknights, but it does require level 4 monsters. While this card has Ixis material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon monsters. And then you can also detach an Xyz material and target a card on field and destroy it. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can also special summon a Tellarknight from hand or deck, so it gets that recursion as well. The ones with the 3 materials have that recursion, which is really nice. We're playing Giant Hand. I don't know. It does stuff. That's pretty cool. Exotine Knight is a bit more exciting though. This is Zeus at home. And it can come up, especially since it's easy to make, you know, rank 4, 2 level 4 monsters, easy peasy. Then of course we have Tellarknight Ptolemaeus, which is weird. This one's a weird one. You don't really want to make this super often. I think you mostly make this if you want to rank it up into other things, like using the continuous spell, which is a really powerful card. I don't think I actually talked about it. It allows you to special summon a Tellarknight or Constellar monster from your hand or graveyard when you activate it, and then you can target a Tellarknight or Constellar Ixis monster you control and special summon a Tellarknight or Constellar with a different rank by using that one as material, and it transfers materials. So pretty cool. You can turn your used up Constellar Caduceus, or any of your used up ones, to it and make you know, Ptolemy or Constellar Diamond or Pleiades. Pretty good. I like it. But yeah, Ptolemaeus I think is good for that, but also you can detach 3 Ixis materials to special summon from your extra deck an Ixis monster that's a rank higher than this card, except for a number monster, by using this face-up monster you control as materials. Pretty cool. But also you could detach 7 materials from this card to skip your opponent's next turn. Not happening. Generally speaking, not happening, but wouldn't it be cool if it did? And then during each player's end phase, you can attach 1 Tellarknight card from your extra deck to this card as face-up Ixis material. So that's how you're supposed to make it big like that. But let's be realistic about this. You're going to be ranking this up into the other things, I think, most of the time. But yeah, this is a really cool deck, and I'm really excited to show it off. So let's go check it out. So here's the game. We have unfortunately drawn Wakaushi and not the bike, but we can still do things with Wakaushi. So let's go ahead and scale that up. We'll activate the effect, we'll put Big Benkai down, and then we'll summon Wakaushi. Big Benkai effect to grab the Soul Gaio horns, or booster. We'll activate that, summon it. You've seen this before. We'll make Excel Synchro. Unfortunately, we can't go much further than that. So we are just going to scale up the Wakaushi. We don't have the bike to go into Barone, so we're just going to leave the Excel Synchro on the field. We're going to pendulum out our Lirin and our Vega. We're going to activate their effects. They're going to Ash the Lirin, so we're not going to get our spell. We are going to get our Vega though, except we don't have a target. That's the funny thing about this deck, is that the Pendulum Summon is crazy good, except for the fact that the Pendulum Summon vomits out your entire hand, and then you don't have anything for Vega to target. But we will search Altair with Isolde. We'll then pitch Living Fossil to summon Renaud. Renaud will get us back to Living Fossil. We'll activate Living Fossil. We're going to target the Soul Gaia booster. That's 4 material for an Appaloosa. We don't really need the Stardust Dragon, so we're going to use it as material for Appaloosa to get an extra negate. So we have Effect Veiler, Ash Blossom, and 4 negate Appaloosa. Let's see what our opponent can do. They're going to summon Savant Kepler. We're going to Effect Veiler that shit. Get it out of here. They're going to activate Griffin. We're going to negate that. They're going to scale up Griffin. They're going to scale up Kepler. Then they're going to summon Vice Typhon. Then they're going to use that to make... oh, come on. It was too fast. They make the Link monster, and then they make Deus Machinex on top of that. Then they go to battle, attack over Appaloosa. Unfortunately, they don't really have a whole lot to do with Machinex because I didn't allow them to do any of their setup. DDD, folks. We draw Altairin, so we're going to get out the Altair, summon it off of Altair.
We're going to let's use a summon of Altair to get back our Laren, and then we'll finally get the Constellar Tellarknight's card to hand. We're going to make Constellar Caduceus using our 2 Pendulum Summon monsters. We're going to pitch the first we're going to activate the effect to grab Vega back to hand. We're going to pitch Deneb from deck, banishing it, and then pitch the Altairan so we can summon the Altairan later. In order to add a Constellar monster to hand to use with Vega's effect. We're going to activate a continuous spell first. We're just going to go ahead and summon the Altairan. We'll activate the Altairan effect to destroy the Machinex. Then we'll make Constellar Omega just in case. We're going to summon Vega. Use Vega to summon Ukulele. And then that'll send our Liren. We'll make, like I said, we're going to make Ptolemaeus, and then we're going to use Ptolemaeus to make Constellar Diamond. Now, in this matchup, I don't think Constellar Diamond was actually the right choice necessarily, because it doesn't actually stop them from doing very much. DDD is not sending monsters from deck to grave very often. Probably the right choice would have been to make Ptolemy or Pleiades, but that's not what I did. We're going to go to battle. We're going to get some damage in. Omega cannot attack for some reason. I don't even know what's locking us. I've played this deck a few times trying to get a good, like, a replay that shows off the deck. Not necessarily one where you win, but one that shows off the deck. They're going to activate Puri Reyes map. We're going to Ash Blossom it. But yeah, I was trying to find one that actually shows off the deck pretty well. And, oh boy. I do not know how the locks in this deck work. But yeah, we Ash their Puri Reyes map. They have nothing else, so they're going to go ahead and concede. Well, you certainly can't argue with a win. This was a little bit of a scuffed hand too, so I'm pretty happy with how the deck performed despite that. A really cool deck. I really like the way that the Superheavy Samurai stuff interacts with the Tellarknight stuff. The ability to create protection first, and also just gain that advantage, and then set up a pendulum summon. Because this is like a thing that Tellarknight is really like lacking in, is the ability to summon as many as you need to actually work the deck the way it wants to work. And obviously there are Tellarknight pendulum monsters, these Tellarknight like Yangzing involved. It's like involved in the whole lore. It's the big lore deck stuff. There are Tellarknights in there, but they're not really particularly good, so you wouldn't really want to play them. But this deck allows us to pendulum summon while also getting advantage, while not interfering with the strategy that we want to play. I think this is really sick, and I'm really happy I got to see this. So I'm already off to a good start. Alright, this next one was made by Zoe Koala Goddess, and it is BA. That's right, we are making Dante in 2023. It's rank 3 turbo, but, you know, with BA instead of like adventure and stuff like that. And we're also playing Berserker Soul, which is a card. Let's build this in Omega and see how it goes. Alright, here's the deck, and it's BA. So BA is an interesting deck. All of the monsters have locks. Like, every single one of them says that, like, if you control a monster that's not a BA, destroy this card. Which means they interfere a lot. There's a lot of interference with the Psychic Tracker, the Psychic Wielder, the Danger Jackalope, and Tsuchinoko. Tour Guide and Rhino are like a combo all themselves, but if the Rhinos in hand do not anything at all. Nibiru actually can be a problem too. The token or the Nibiru summoned to your field gets in the way of plays. All the Ghost Girls are 3s, so they also work for this, but again, it's like only in a pinch that you're summoning this. You kind of want to just like, get 2 of them on field and no more than that, so you can make Cherubini. Unless you can get 4, you don't want to be left with an odd number of level 3s that aren't Burning Abyss monsters. So you're going to be wanting to make Cherubini, which can do some sending. That's another thing, is all the BAs have effects when they're sent to the graveyard. Barbar can do burn damage. Seer summons. Libic. Oh god, what does Libic do? I never remember what Libic does. It also special summons, right. They all have little effects like that. Farfa banishes. Farfa's a really good one, actually. Graph also summons. Skarm, I believe, negates. Every one of them has an effect. Phoenix Rhino also has an effect when it's sent to the grave. It sends a fiend, so it sends one of our other Burning Abyss monsters. That's why it's good in here. But yeah, you can go into Cherubini, which will send from deck to grave, which triggers their effects. You can also use it to keep the xenophobic effect from going off. So if you have a Burning Abyss in a zone that Cherubini points to, it's protected from its own effect. We'll also be making Dante a lot. Dante is a level 3 Ixies that mills 3 cards to gain attack points. Dante can actually be ranked up into Beatrice, which does not only work as a bullshit card for decks that can vomit out level 6 monsters, but is also a card in this deck, although it goes very slowly in this deck. It actually, I think, is worse in BA than it is in like Drytron or whatever. We're playing Gay Dante. I genuinely don't know how to make this in this deck. We have, of course, Zeus. We have Vespinato, which we can make on top of our Ixies. We have Downerd, which we can make on top of our Ixies to make a bigger Zeus. Levier is a rank 3 that used to be very popular, but now is not as popular, but it can do some stuff. It can summon a BA that got banished by Barbar's effect to a zone that Cherubini points to. That's kind of cool. Fortune Tune is a fucking tower. It's like a shitty tower. And of course we have Access Code, Nightmare Unicorn, Ivy Masquerena, and the Anti-Cheese White Woman. Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, of course a great card. It's just a Kaiju in the extra deck. Access Code is here. I hate Access Code so much. I just grow to hate it every day more and more. And Nightmare Unicorn is the perfect thing to go into Access Code with, and Ivy Masquerena can go into anything we want, especially Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. But yeah, a little concerned about this deck. Oh, I should also tell you what Berserk Soul does, because this card is really funny. When a monster you control inflicts 1500 or less damage to your opponent by direct attack, discard your entire hand, excavate the top of your deck, and if it is a monster card, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent, then repeat this effect up to 7 more times, or until you excavate a non-monster card. If a non-monster card is excavated, place it on top of your deck. So, this being the only spell card in the deck, if you manage to pull off the activation condition, which, trust me, not easy to do. We do not have nearly enough board breakers to make this work. But if you do, you burn your opponent for 500 for every card, which is lethal. It's just lethal. It also triggers all the effects of your BA cards, so it's got extra stuff like that. It's funny, for sure. You gotta draw it though. There's no other way. Like, yeah, there's just not a good way to get it back. But you know, maybe we'll see it happen. Let's check out and see if we do. So here we are with the game, and we have opened both Nibirus. We also have both the Psychic Tracker and the Psychic Wielder, so we can hopefully do some rank 3 stuff or make Cherubini. And we have Farfa, which is one of the better BA cards, so happy to see him around. Let's see how it goes. Our opponent is starting, and they're going to start with some Trickstar nonsense. Get the Light Stage, get the Licorice. Summon Unicorn. Typical Trickstar play, summon Unicorn. They're also going to summon Candina. They're going to add Light Stage. They're going to activate Light Stage, add Korribane. You know, it's just a Searcher. It's just Rhoda. They're going to use Licorice to put back the Candina. They're going to activate Unicorn finally, getting Kashtira Theosis. Kashtira Theosis does lock them out of Link monsters, but I don't think they actually care. They're going to summon Fenrir off of Unicorn. Fenrir is going to grab Rise Heart. Down comes the Rise Heart. They're going to activate the Rise Heart. They're going to send another Unicorn. They're going to banish 3 of our cards. Nothing we really care about too much. We're going to Nibiru here because they make Flare Metal Dragon. I don't want to see that shit. So we're going to Nibiru. They're going to get the token. Big token. But we have ways of dealing with tokens. So we're going to summon... We draw the Spooky Dogwood, and genuinely do not know what Spooky Dogwood is doing in here. Each time your opponent special summons an effect monster during the main phase or battle phase, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. Don't really care about that, but it is a level 3, so we're going to summon it, and then we're going to summon the Wielder, and we're going to go into Cherubini. Going to Cherubini effect to send Farfa from deck to go ahead and banish that token. It doesn't come back because it is a token. When tokens are banished, they just cease to exist. We're going to go to battle. We're going to get in for 15, in for 3k, and we'll just pass on that. Out my Nibiru, dummy. They're going to start with Candina. They're going to grab Light Stage. It's just Rhoda. It's just Rhoda. They're going to activate Dark Room of Nightmare. Yeah, that's what we're doing here, folks. We're trying to Burn forever. That's why the Kashtira's are in here. They're not in here to make any Kashtira Ixies. They're in here to make Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragons specifically for Dark Room of Nightmare. They're gonna add the girl. They're gonna go to battle. They're gonna attack into Nibiru and use Korrabane to boost their attack to a point where they can get over Nibiru. But you know, that's just fine for me because I don't want to have to deal with getting rid of our own Nibiru. They're going to Licorice in the battle phase in order to get over Cherubini as well, which is a little less good, but they cannot do so. I don't know why. Or maybe they just chose not to. I don't know. Redraw a card, so we're going to take a little bit of damage. It's just like pure visual noise when Trickstars are on the field as far as the burn damage goes. We drawed the best card in our deck though, Tour Guide. We're going to activate Tour Guide. We're going to get the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. We're going to make Dante. We're going to send the Rhino Warrior and mill 3 off the top. We hit Seer, Libic, and Tour Guide. It doesn't matter, but we're going to activate them in sequence. We're going to send Graph, summon off of Libic, summon off of Seer, and then we're going to summon off of the Graph that we also sent to get Barbar. We're going to make Dante number 2. We're going to activate Dante and mill a couple of more. We're going to activate the effect of the milled. I don't even know which one we milled there. Oh, it must have been a Farfa because it got banished. And we're going to activate the effect of Cherubini to mill and get some attack boosts, and that is already lethal though. Doesn't really matter. Hey, we won one! BA still has it. We got it. Let's go! So while we did win that one, I think this deck is... I mean, it's funny. It's funny for sure. The Berserker Soul is an incredible card. Just like perfectly designed to be a build around that is so absurd that it's not good. But if you ever get it off, people are going to tell stories about you forever. However, as far as actual build, like as far as actual quality of the deck, it leaves something to be desired. As Zoe Koala said, it is a deck from a while ago, so no shade on her, but the deck leaves a little bit to be desired, as you would expect from a deck that is this old. Nevertheless, Dante is eternal, and Zeus is our Lord and Savior. And lastly, we have Eclipsean. Eclipsean, my good friend and the most interesting deck maker out there, probably. Here we go, 4 decks, 4 playstyles, all of them at roughly the same level of readiness. Think of it like me sending you my greatest hits album. It truly is. Well, there's one in particular I'm interested in, and it's this one right here, Rescue Ace. This archetype is very interesting, so I want to see how it plays. I've never actually played it before. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so here it is, Rescue Ace. Now this deck is an interesting one. We have a lot going on here, so let me just like go through the deck with you. We of course have the Rescue Aces. This is the main thrust of the deck. It's a pretty self-reliant deck. You're not going to be having a whole lot of splash from other decks in here. But yeah, we have our Airlifter. Airlifter is our spell searcher. It also can quick effect tribute to special summon a Rescue Ace from hand, which is pretty cool. We have Hydrant, which is a monster searcher, not on summon though, and you might notice it has 0 and 0 as for its stats, but if you control another Rescue Ace monster, they can't target this with attacks, or card effects for that matter. This guy also adds some extra effects to some of our spells, which is pretty cool. Rescue Ace Impulse is one of the weaker links of the smaller guys, but still good enough to run 2. This guy allows us to negate our opponent's monster with the highest attack on our turn, and then when our opponent activates a monster effect, we can tribute this card to special summon out another Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace Monitor is the worst of them. It just gets a trap, and we're gonna get a lot of traps with our other guys here. So just not very good. But you should still probably run one. I think this is good. Fire Attacker special summons itself if you summon a Rescue Ace monster, and then if your opponent adds a card to their hand, you get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. That's really cool effect. I really like that. Rescue Ace Preventer is one of the new cards that actually makes this archetype tick. This is like a really well needed card for the archetype to make it work. This guy can banish a Rescue Ace card, not monster, card, from your graveyard to special summon itself, and then it has a Book of Moon effect as a quick effect, if you control another Rescue Ace monster, but you probably will. And then we have the big boss, Rescue Ace Turbulence. This guy can special summon itself by banishing 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard. Also, it does look a lot like a Machina card. Ignore that. Or maybe don't. I don't know. I'm not your boss. Most importantly though, this guy during your main phase can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells or normal traps with different names directly from the deck. And then, as if it needed more effects, if a card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can target a card in the field and destroy it. Like, this card is so pushed. It's incredible. This is what boss monsters should be. I love main deck boss monsters with crazy effects, but like not broken. It's not broken. It's just got crazy ass effects like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. You know, I know it would call for banning Ultimate Conductor Tyranno or Rescue Ace Turbulence, but they're so cool. When they come down, it's powerful, and then they have really crazy effects. Doesn't go too far, and then they're in the main deck, so it's not like you always have access to them. No, you gotta like work for it. Although in this deck we have our new quick play spell Emergency, which gives us access to this guy at almost all times. You do have to tribute a Rescue Ace monster in order to summon, but you do the summon and then you do the tribute, so there's like things you could do. Additionally, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target a Rescue Ace trap in your graveyard and set it, which is also pretty good because we're going to have a few traps that we're going to recycle a lot. Yeah, let's get into those. Well, first, let's get into the Rescue Ace HQ. This card is a really neat field spell. It's actually like a fairly unique style of field spell. I really like this because it's not just a fucking Rhoda like Trickstars were for the last deck. This card instead, you know, when your opponent controls a monster, all Rescue Ace cards you get 500 attack and defense. That's a pretty good stat buff, honestly. Although, you know, only works when your opponent has a monster. But honestly, I like that. That's fine. But the most importantly, during your main phase, you can summon another. You get another normal summon of a Rescue Ace monster. Really cool. I love that kind of effect. I think that's really neat. And then it has another one. Once per turn, you can target 4 of your Rescue Ace cards that are banished or in the grave, shuffle them in the deck, and then draw a card. I like that so much better than the Rhoda style effects. I think that's way cooler. We also have our quick play spells. One of them adds from graveyard to hand or deck to hand if you have Hydrant. The other one special summons from the grave or special summons from your opponent's grave if you have Hydrant on field. Very cool. I love that. Contain here just allows us to negate an effect monster on the field. If we control a Hydrant, it also prevents them from using it as material for extra deck summons. Extinguish just destroys an effect monster on field. And then if you have Hydrant, your opponent cannot activate effects with that destroyed monster or monsters of the same name that turn. Interesting little boost there. And then there is Reinforce, which is kind of a crazy one. This one allows you to boost a monster by 1500 attack and defense and make it unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. And the next time it will be destroyed by battle is not destroyed. Like, it's just pile it on. It makes your card into a towers, but only for a little bit, which I think is the way tower effects should work. They shouldn't be permanent. They should just be temporary. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard and add a Rescue Ace spell from your graveyard and, you know, set it on the field, which just helps you recur some of the cards that you use up after you set them all with Turbulence. This deck is really good about maintaining back row. You recycle this back row over and over. I mean, obviously the HQ recycles the back row, Reinforce gets the back row back on the field, Emergency gets the back row back on the field, and then like HQ can get them from the banish zone, so they put them back. We're running Ash Blossom because, you know, we're running Harvey's Feather Duster because, you know, you have back row, everyone knows. Reinforcement of the army, there are a lot of warriors in this deck. We can search off of that, pretty cool. Pot of Extrav, we actually don't need our extra deck, basically at all. You can go into this every once in a while. There's some funny generators in here that we can make with our Turbulence. Very funny, but mostly we're using this as an Extrav target. Dark Ruler no more. You know, we can go first or second. It doesn't really matter for us. Prefer to go first, but you know, we can do some cool stuff going second too. Call by the Grave, really gotta stop the hand traps. Don't want them around. Dogmatic Punishment, again, we're not really using our extra deck, so we could use Dogmatic Punishment to, you know, interrupt our opponent and then get the extra effects of the card we sent. Nice to have this. And then, like I said, for the extra, it's just all bullshit. Like, none of this matters. This is the kind of thing that's going to come up like once every 11 games, you know, and then that one time it's going to come up and you're gonna be like, whoa, but like otherwise it's just not anything you really need to worry about, you know, besides like Entis, which can pop a card, Wind Pegasus, which can bounce a card, and Meteorologic Aggregator, which is a negate. Of course, like I said, there's the generators which you can make if you want to. Time Thief Redoer is just pretty good. Dugaris you can work with. You don't have a whole lot of fours, so I wouldn't go into them very often. And you can use them to go into the Utopic Draco Future, one of my favorite cards. Unchained Abomination does some funny stuff with the way this deck works. Boral Sword Dragon is, of course, actually a really good card that people aren't playing. Like, it's just kind of fallen out of favor, but like, if Access Code ever gets banned, this card is going to be the next one that comes up, I think. Deco Talker Heat Soul, if we want to get some more card advantage. Nightmare Unicorn does some fun stuff. You know the deal with Nightmare Unicorn. Donner Dagger for Hire, just like removal. You know, any 2 monsters with different types is removal. We have different types. We have machines and we have warriors, so that works. And then Almirage we can make out of Hydrant, although I like having Hydrant on field, if I'm being honest. Let's see what this deck can do in a game. I'm really excited about this. So here we are with the game, and we're a little bricked up, it seems. Pot of Extrav will hopefully get us out of it, but let's see what our opponent does. We're going to Extrav, we're going to get a couple of cards, and what do you know, we're still bricked up. They're going to droll us, but we don't really have any more stuff to do, so good droll, buddy. At least we don't have to deal with it later on. Our opponent's going to draw, and they're going to summon out the Soul Peacemaker. Hey, look, Super Heavy Samurai. We just did this. Soul Piercer is going to be put on it, and then we're going to make Almirage. It's going to trigger the Soul Piercer. They're going to grab Wakaushi. There. They're going to Regulus. Regulus is going to grab the Soul Peacemaker. Now, Soul Peacemaker actually cannot use an effect on a non-Sword Soul monster, so they're just kind of doing it for fun. They're going to Wakaushi, Big Benkai. Almirage effect targeting Wakaushi. Not really sure why they do this, just for fun. Then they're going to Big Benkai to get the Soul Gaia booster. Soul Gaia booster. Effect. Summon. And then they make Boral Load. And I'm like, what are they doing? So they're making Boral Load targeting the Almirage. That's why they did it. So they get the Link monster in grave for Boral Load. They're going to summon out Wagon with the Pendulum Summon. Wagon is going to grab the Peacemaker. Now, unfortunately, they already have the Boral Load at this point, so Nibiru is going to just get negated. And it is a once per turn, so we can't really do much. They're going to summon out the Sneaky Guy to make Ancient Gear Ballista. Ancient Gear Ballista effect is going to grab the Ancient Gear box. That will trigger the effect of Ancient Gear box after we add for Soul Piercer to grab the bike. Don't really know what the bike can do at this point, but they're going to activate the effect of the gearbox to grab Tunneler. They're going to activate Tunneler, sending Ballista, and then they're going to go to battle and attack in, and I just don't know why they made the Tunneler at all. But also I don't know why they didn't attack with Ballista first and then make the Tunneler. I don't know. We draw Emergency, which just perfect. Incredible, immaculate draw. Just the best thing we could have hoped for. So Emergency, then we're going to send the other Rescue Ace Turbulence to as our tribute for Rescue Ace Turbulence. We're going to summon the Fire Attacker because we summoned a Rescue Ace monster. We're going to go to main phase. We're going to activate the effect of Extinguished, targeting the Regulus. That's going to bait out the Regulus. You got to use it or you're going to lose it. They're going to negate it. We get to then banish Emergency to summon Preventer. Then we can use Rescue to bring back our other Turbulence. We're going to activate Preventer to flip that Boral Load face down. We're going to activate the effect of Turbulence to set 4. That is Reinforce, Emergency, Contain, and Alert. Just incredible. What an incredible effect. We're going to go battle. We're going to get over the Boral Load. We're going to get over the Tunneler. And then we're going to get in for 28. Not bad. We are looking a little low on life points ourselves, but we're in a pretty good position here. Let's see what they can do. They're going to activate Tunneler. Tunneler's going to put back a bunch of things. And then they're going to draw a couple of cards. They're going to activate the bike to grab the Soul Piercer. We're going to activate the Fire Attacker to draw 2 and then discard 1. We drew the other Nibiru. Just incredible. They're going to summon Scales. They're going to activate Scales. I figure Scales is a pretty good thing to negate with Contain, so we're going to go ahead and do that. They're going to activate Big Benkai. I'm going to Ash that. I don't want them searching anything. Then they're going to Pendulum Summon out the Soul Piercer and the Wagon. Now, I should have on the summon, on the the effect of the Soul Piercer, I should have activated Preventer to flip the wagon face down. Did not think to do so. They're going to activate the effect. They're going to grab the Soul Peacemaker. I actually believe Soul Peacemaker is attached to scales. Yeah, I use the Preventer there, which is actually good. It gets rid of the Soul Peacemaker, so they can't do the thing. Then they make Spriggan's Merrymaker, and at this point I'm extremely confused. What is going on? There's no Spriggan's in the deck. They activate the Soul Piercer to get another Big Benkai. I don't know. And then they make Gigantic Champion Sargus, and everything clicks. Oh yeah, this guy exists, and he can search Regulus. So now we have another Regulus to deal with. They're gonna go ahead and summon that Regulus. Down he comes. And then they're going to summon the Big Benkai. That guy's got a really large Tukus. Just like the regular Benkai, which they sent. They have it, they're playing it. We're going to reinforce on declaration of attack. They're going to go for Regulus. We're going to tag out our fire attacker with emergency in order to get a different card. Because otherwise we're going to lose it anyways. Then we're going to reinforce to grab the rescue back. They're going to Soul Piercer to grab Soul Peacemaker. Then we're going to, they're going to crash into Preventer. They're going to attach the Soul Peacemaker to the Big Benkai, and they're going to pass on that. We're going to rescue. We're going to target their Regulus so they can't get that back. So now we have a Regulus of our own. We're going to draw Rhoda for turn. We're going to search out, grab Lifter. Lifter is just the perfect draw here because, or Rhoda's the perfect draw here, because then we can get Lifter, and then Lifter can grab us the HQ. We're going to plop that HQ on the field and then activate the effect to put back a whole bunch of spells and traps. And then we shall draw a card, get called by, and then we're going to set 4. And you know you can activate them the turn you set them to. And our opponent apparently didn't, so they're going to go ahead and surrender after we destroy their Big Benkai and threaten lethal. Wow, this deck is so cool. I fucking love this. What a neat deck. So the new cards have really put Rescue Ace in a pretty good spot. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing here, and I think the deck is really sick. I like the way it plays. I like the power it has. I think it's actually doing pretty well as far as the power level goes, especially with the lowered power level of the format currently. The set 4 is just incredible, and the fact that they could just be activated, just awesome. This deck is so cool. Big shout out to Eclipsian for making this. I really think this one's a banger for sure. So those are the decks. What did you think of them? I thought they're all pretty cool. Superheavy Samurai, Tellarknight, pretty fucking cool. BA doing its thing in 2023, you know it, babe. And then Rescue Ace is looking really cool. Actually genuinely think playable this format. Really excited about that. Thank you all to the people who showed me some decks. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to all of you. Love it. Great. And I'll see you in the Belfry next time when we take a look at some more of your crazy decks. Hey there. Thanks for watching this episode of the Belfry. If you want to submit decks to this, just follow me on Twitter and watch for when I post one of those things. Make sure to follow me there and on Twitch, and like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube things, ring the bell. You know the deal by now, right? Also, you know, Patreon, you can go on the credits that you see here. That'd be pretty neat, wouldn't it? I appreciate you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good one. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye.